And you've reached Gumbo for the Soul Radio. We've got wonderful guests today, our men of honor, Mr. Bruce George, Mr. Tony Rose, and Mr. Gerald Greene, giving us insight into the minds of men and talking about health and taking care of yourself and just giving you some words of wisdom. So happy to have you here, also with the creator of Gumbo Soul, Miss Beverly Black Johnson. If you want to talk to any of the guests or myself, please call 347-838-9657 and push 1 on the keypad. We'll put you in queue, and we'll be happy to take your questions. When we left off, we were talking about giving some words of wisdom to the young ones. Gerald, I want to ask you that question. What would you have to say to young brothers coming up today in today's climate about not only this situation, but just some wisdom on how to take care of yourself better in your health?
One thing about health is really related to understanding some of the basic principles of wisdom and knowledge. And you have to be in pursuit of information constantly. There's a lot of information out there that it's not correct. One of the things that helped me immensely was having a personal physician. So one of the things that I advocate is everyone should have a doctor that they trust. It can't start too young. My son just turned 17, and his doctor right now is a pediatrician. So he knows my son, and so as my son gets older, that information can be transferred to another doctor. But in my case, it was a relationship with a personal physician that helped me make some better decisions. I've listened to some of the other guests, and we've all made some youthful decisions that probably had some impact on us. And one of the things that try to help folks understand is, your body's kind of like a machine. You feed it, you put things in it, and those things are disposed of. And sometimes that whole process can cause certain parts to wear out faster than others. So you have to, when you're young, you think you're indestructible, but as you age, things will start going awry. One of the silent killers, high blood pressure. So my advice is, get a checkup. Find a physician or a clinic or someone that you can have some faith and trust in, and start looking at some of those important numbers. When I say numbers like blood pressure, your glucose, a lot of us die or end up having diabetes when we get older, or cholesterol. A lot of it's related to diet. So, that would be my advice for young folks. You can't start too young. Exercising and eating is good. Keeping a good spiritual health, going to church is good. But you really need to have that medical professional kind of checking in with you checking in with that person on a regular basis, at least annually.
And that's good advice. And Gerald, I want to ask you this, and then go on to Tony and to Bruce with the same question, because I know in my family and in circle of friends, a lot of times, the women are going to the doctor, but it's like pulling teeth to get the men to the doctors. So are you finding that in your circle of friends, or are you promoting differently because now of what you've been through? Have you always been that way?
Well, I'm more that way now, and part of what has helped me is I'm an advocate for health now. I wrote a book, The Life Constricted, which came out last year. There's a chapter I wrote in another book called Fatherhood Love, and the editor asked me to address fatherhood love and prostate cancer. And so like I said, my main advice for folks is really know your body by having a physician help you kind of navigate. Some people are very fortunate. They are blessed with a body. They won't have high blood pressure. They won't have any of those illnesses. But you're correct. A lot of men say, there's nothing wrong with me. And that sense of denial, most things, if they are analyzed or diagnosed soon enough, a lot of them are correctable. It's not true everything, but the cancers that I've had, the tongue cancer in particular, it was diagnosed kind of just in time because I found out after I was survived it that a lot of folks who had the size tumor in the location where mine was, they didn't survive, and a lot of it has to do with not getting good aggressive treatment. So, I really try to tell men, encourage men to get that checkup. Information can help you.
Right,
make better
right.
decisions.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I think hearing it come from another man helps, too, because sometimes, again, when it's someone that, you look up to or can identify with, it's a little easier to hear. Tony, same question for you. I know you said you always took care of your health, but were you one that went to the doctor like you were supposed to, and are you proclaiming this to others as well?
Well, it depends on if we're talking about young brothers, teenagers, young men in their 20s, or are we talking about men in their 30s and 40s?
Well, men in general. I mean, because I'm
finding,
in general? In general, a lot of times men just, don't, the ones that I know of, not saying everyone, because I don't say everyone, but the majority of men just do not go to the doctor unless they have to, or their wives or significant others push them to. Are you finding?
Well, it's a financial thing.
Okay.
If you're a veteran, you have the VA. If you're not, then you got to pay for health insurance. And if you can't do that, then what? So, most I would think that a lot of African American men, if they're not working and if they're not a veteran, and if they're not don't have access to funds to pay every month for health insurance, don't see a doctor because of that. And again, it depends on the level and where the environment, the person, the African American person, where they're at. If they're in the real ghetto, if they're urban, if they're here, if they're raised a certain way or come from a certain way, then they know more about it. I can only speak for the people who come from where I come from. I talk to them always, whether I'm speaking out or not speaking. What I say to anyone is stop smoking, drinking, and doing drugs or selling drugs or causing stress in your life. And once you start doing that, you'll find your life pick up more. But other than that, it's a matter of your health, because your health will deteriorate with the more things, death. Endangerment in the African American community comes from many, many ways besides your personal health. You can die or be, dead in many ways through the environments you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
It's a matter of education, listening. I advise every person to listen to people that talk, like Bruce, this gentleman, Gerald, that's here, you guys, to listen, to really listen to people and understand what they're saying. And again, it depends on your circumstances in life and where you're at and how much money you have or don't have and how you're living and where you're living at. And what's going on in your life depending on where your health, your mental health, your physical health, your environmental health is going to go. But I would suggest that everyone try to do better and be better and live better and pray better and understand that life can change for the better if you do better and try hard to live and do and think and listen to positive people that are trying to tell you how to live and be better. Your health will change, your mental health will change, your body will change, your life will change.
Definitely, definitely. And I think also full circle of that also is as we teach other, as we learn, we teach, and that's our way of giving back. We always must give back. We can't keep everything for ourselves because then that's just being greedy. You don't get any blessings that way. And that's also a healing. Right,
absolutely.
And also a healing.
Absolutely.
Bruce, did you want to elaborate on that a little more? Thank
you
for
for
that, Tony.
Sure. I think this is a very exciting and relevant topic. A major impetus behind myself becoming more health conscious is because of the fact that I was a member of the Gods and Earth, a 5% nation of Gods and Earth, which put emphasis on not eating pork, eating right, yada, 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 yada. From there, I segued and became a Sunni Muslim, which put emphasis on eating right and living right and the whole nine. So that was, I salute the Nation of Islam. I salute Islam. I salute the 5% Nation for turning my life around on the health tip. And praise God, it's been like over 27 odd years, 26, 27 years. I haven't smoked or drank anything. I don't smoke. I don't drink. None of that. I don't need weed, this, that. It was all in stages, and I thank the good Lord for that progression. I want to say this, though, because you tapped on something, Rachel, that was, like, really powerful about the resistance of black men, or men in general. But we're speaking about black men not wanting to go to a doctor, what have you. Brother Rose, he was on point when he talked about the financial aspect, but there's a psychological aspect as well. Mm-hmm. We suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Whether we realize it or not, there's a plethora of information that when we were enslaved, we were never slaves. We were enslaved. When we were enslaved, through that middle passage, all of what we went through, that has been incorporated within our gene. That's why today, right, a lot of us are afraid of water. A lot of us are afraid of dogs. A lot of us are afraid of doctors. Okay, you're talking about even post, antebellum, all right, with the Tuskegee studies and stuff like that, how we were used as guinea pigs even before the Tuskegee study. We were used as guinea pigs, right? We're resistant towards therapists, not only financially, but psychologically as well. And so we have that. We have that. And get a load of this. Those individuals that were responsible for enslaving us, so-called enslaving us, right? Even their ancestors suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder as well. I always tell people the jailer is doing time right along with the jail. Like Dr. King said, what affects one directly affects another indirectly. So what they do is, what you don't notice, and I'm up on it, though, what you'll notice is that people of a different persuasion, Caucasian, whatever, when they're walking dogs, they'll let the leash, when they're around black folk and brown folk, they'll test you. And they'll let the leash go. They'll loosen it up to see you tense up and flex up because they know. These are little subtle things that we need to really hone up on and be aware of. And let me say this. So when you talk about McDonald's and Happy Meals and everything that has happened to us is by design. We've been targeted mentally, spiritually, emotionally, biologically, chemically, the whole nine. McDonald's is the modern-day Joe Camel, period. Okay, I would implore your audience to get this book called Nutricide by Olila, Africa. And
repeat that again, Bruce.
Listening audience and people on the panel, you would be hard-pressed to not think of someone in your family that doesn't have diabetes. You would be hard-pressed to think of someone in your family that doesn't have this ailment or that ailment or whatever. That is by design. You feel me? And so, we have to really reverse that. We have to dry brush. You know what I'm saying? We have to mentally get ourselves right. We have to spiritually get ourselves right. Mr. Farrakhan said it best when he said, we've been robbed of our religion, our culture, our God, and many of us, by the way we act, we've even lost our minds.
Come on now.
Get our sanity back, right? We have to get our sanity back. We have so much work to do, physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole nine, in order to withstand the fiery darts of the wicked. You feel me? So that's my take on that.
Now, just repeat that name and the book again so that those who might not have heard will definitely be able to
pick it up. Okay, it's Nutricide by Olila, Dr. Olila, Africa.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And audience, I just want you to know, you reached the Gumbo. Gumbo for the soul is no joke. We're definitely feeding you, motivating you, inspiring you always teaching you always. So if you're not familiar with the publications, make sure you get in tune with the publications and know what they're about, because you definitely be missing out.